Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Ryan Haywood.
Looks like that Half-Life 3 poster wasn't the biggest troll job at Gamescom. It was a good one, but it wasn't the biggest one. Now that Konami's on the scene with a surprise trailer for a brand new Metal Gear, only it's not quite what fans were expecting.
That's one way to put it. The Diamond Dogs over at Konami have officially out-Kojima'd Kojima with a reveal of a Metal Gear Survive, a 4-player co-op zombie thriller set in an alternate Metal Gear Solid universe.
Wow.
Yep.
The company debuted Metal Gear Survive at the Gamescom video game conference in Germany this morning, showing off one of the weirdest franchise twists we've seen yet, which is certainly saying something with Metal Gear in general.
Yeah, so how does Konami justify turning everyone's favorite stealth soap opera into a Left 4 Dead clone? Apparently, it takes place in a separate timeline where the events of the Phantom Pain never occurred.
Oh, that's where they're going with this one, I see. Instead of going out in a fiery blaze, the soldiers left on the destroyed Mother Base at the end of Ground Zero, spoilers, are sucked into a wormhole into a new universe. That wouldn't be the craziest story twist we've experienced yet in Metal Gear, so there is that. We've had, immortal vampires, giant flaming whales.
Lack of conclusions to storylines.
Oh yeah, but that's just a series staple at this point.
Fair enough. According to Konami, the universe-hopping soldiers must now survive against massive threats in a barren world with abandoned structures. The game also takes a divergent look at familiar Metal Gear themes and pursues a fresh spirit of exploration in unique gameplay mechanics.
The actual trailer is about as bonkers as all of that sounds. It features a bunch of bland NPC protagonists sucked into a giant hole in the sky, only to find themselves face to face with weird crystallized zombies. They explore apocalyptic desert landscapes and fight the zombies. No, stop! Don't do it! With melee weapons and crazy spinning fire arrows, and reports also have Ryan Haywood on the scene.
After the heroes are finished slaughtering the typical zombie fodder, the trailer ends with the hint of a much more massive threat, which sounds like a Metal Gear, sorta? Probably like kind of zombified, sort of like the whole franchise.
How do you zombify a Metal Gear?
Well, look, see, they're actually living things.
What if it's like in Last of Us, where it's actually like organic plant matter, and so plants have like grown all up in the mechanics and somehow learned how to operate them in spite of the lack of opposable thumbs and so on, and they got it going.
Look, you don't have to zombify the machine.
It's not the most unreasonable thing we've ever heard in Metal Gear. It could happen.
It's just that easy. All you gotta do is zombify the pilot. Done.
Yeah, okay.
Takes care of it.
Done. Well, it's just a lot easier. Metal Gear Survive will be out in 2017 for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Konami has also described it as having stealth elements, so it's not entirely an action game. There's also a little bit of sneaking. Plus, they've confirmed it's going to cost less than $60, probably landing somewhere around the same price as Ground Zeroes.
There were a number of rumors and signs pointing to a new Metal Gear Solid 5 related release from Konami over the last few weeks. At the end of July, a Metal Gear Solid 5 Definitive Edition appeared on German retailers as well as Amazon before quickly being pulled.
At the time, fans were speculating that this could be any number of things, like a version of Metal Gear Solid 5, which included both Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain together in one package. The more hopeful fans, however, were theorizing this could be a version of the game that included Phantom Pain's infamous missing content.
No, that would cost like another $1 billion. Around the same time, a Konami community manager started hinting that something would be coming for the series' 30th anniversary. The first Metal Gear debuted in 1987, so fans began, anticipating some kind of reveal for a game next year.
And now you've got it, because no one could have predicted a 4-player Resident Evil Gear Solid, or whatever you want to call it at this point. Naturally, some fans are kind of upset. This is a huge deviation from what they expected or wanted from the series. It's, Metal Gear sets like this very specific kind of expectation. Zombie game, not really in on that. Coming on the heels of the critically acclaimed Phantom Pain, this is a pretty abrupt departure for Konami.
At least it's not pachinko.
Right, at least it's not pachinko. That should be the tagline on the box. Zombie game, not pachinko.
Yet. You don't typically toss out the things that made your franchise a multi-million unit bestseller.
Unless you lose Kojima as well, because you tossed him out, sort of, which is weird.
Oh, they forgot the one thing they needed, creativity. And at this point, adding zombies is so cliche. It's not exactly a new, exciting direction to take this or any other series.
In fact, other games typically use zombie modes as throwaway gags or extra content. Rather humorously, actually, the trailer for Metal Gear Survive isn't that much different from Call of Duty's zombie mode, which looks like really dumb fun.
Is John Travolta in it? Because, Call of Duty's got the Hoff.
He should. Oh, yeah. God. You get the Hoff and you got a winner on your hands, even if it is in space or whatever.
It's such a bad idea to go against the Hoff with zombies. Only Activision knows how to play that for the goofy add-on that it is. Infinite Warfare's zombie mode is titled Zombies in Spaceland and features an 80s aesthetic, whereas Metal Gear Survive seems to be taking itself a little too seriously.
Any reports of the Hoff eating hamburgers off the floor in this one?
Not yet, but we can only assume that that's like the
hey,
bonus
DLC.
level.
Turning Metal Gear into a co-op game is certainly an interesting twist, but it seems like they could have accomplished some of the same goals by simply making a co-op oriented version of Metal Gear Solid 5 with side characters and new missions and slightly different gameplay that probably would have offered enough of a reason for fans to buy the next game without needing to go as far as throwing in zombies.
On the other hand, we didn't know if we'd be getting a follow-up to the series at all, so some fans are taking this as kind of a welcome surprise.
Which is a good way to look at it.
Yeah, last year, following the closure of Kojima Productions, the company did say they planned on making more Metal Gear games in the future. But for all we know, those came in the form of pachinko machines.
Right, which totally exists now thanks to the Metal Gear Solid 3 pachinko machine, which for those of you who aren't familiar is kind of like a slot machine. It's huge in Japan. Prior to that, they'd said they were finished with AAA development altogether, which left the future of the series up in the air, especially after the company's huge fallout with Hideo Kojima.
But moving millions of copies of Metal Gear Solid 5 was probably enough to change even the very bizarre minds at Konami. Strange, money does have a way of doing that.
It does, doesn't it? So one way to look at this is, hey, at least we're getting a new Metal Gear game. Maybe, but of course the other way to look at it is that this is a weird cash grabby effort to just keep making the series without Kojima.
Either way, you sort of have to hand it to Konami. With all the lingering questions about how they could possibly continue to make new Metal Gear Solid games, minus the man who created the franchise, looks like they've decided to just go their own way.
Yeah, we know everyone is going to choose to hate Konami regardless. It's kind of the thing to do now, but they were sort of up shit creek without a paddle without Kojima. To be fair, they were the ones who threw themselves headfirst into shit creek and then broke the paddle on purpose, but still.
Yeah, well, so what do you guys think of Metal Gear Survive's wacky direction change? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on whatever the hell Konami is doing, like this video and subscribe to The Know.
It's gotta be really hard to paddle in a shit creek, right? It's really viscous.
It's hard to paddle up shit creek without a paddle. I mean, then you're using your hands, and that shit's nasty.
I almost think your hands would be more effective in a canoe.
They might be, like if you just because that way you can always scoop along.
Yeah.
Scoop along.
I think it'd just be easier to walk.
But even so, our hands have less surface area than a paddle. So
either way, you're just not moving a boat. You just need to get out and get shit on your shoes.
Right. Is it even a creek at that point?